We could spend hours explaining, but we will give you the basics over the next few minutes. The most important thing here is to educate you all about Bitcoin. So what is Bitcoin? Bitcoin is the world's very first digital, decentralized cryptocurrency. Bitcoin actually uses the internet to send money or value directly person to person, anywhere in the world, without having to use any centralized entity like a bank, PayPal, or Western Union. And it's completely safe, it's anonymous, super fast, and it works anywhere in the world. Anybody can use Bitcoin. There are no qualifications, basically no fees, no chargebacks, and no borders. It really is the future of money. So who uses and accepts Bitcoin? Actually, there are millions of people that are using Bitcoin, and you can use Bitcoin to purchase almost anything you can think of. There are hundreds of thousands of businesses that accept Bitcoin. You can pay for plane tickets, hotel rooms, electronics, cars, coffee, and anything else. If you can think of it, we can show you where you can get it with Bitcoin. Another huge market that Bitcoin impacts is remittance. That is money being sent to friends and family from state to state and country to country all around the world. Most people don't realize that between $600 billion and $1 trillion get moved around the world every year. The way we are all used to doing this is through banks, PayPal, and companies like Western Union. All of these entities charge fees and we have to trust them. Western Union, MoneyGram, and other companies like them charge from 5% up to as much as 30%. On average, it's about 10% worldwide. That means we are talking about fees of $60 billion to $100 billion per year. With Bitcoin, everyone has access with no approvals needed. A typical Bitcoin transaction has a fee of about 2.5 cents. This is an absolute game changer. Most people don't know that only about 1.5 billion people have a bank account, a Visa or MasterCard. That leaves about 5.5 billion people that don't have access to any type of banking. All of their assets are in their home. If there's a robbery, a fire, a flood, a typhoon, or anything else like that, they lose everything. And did you know that more people have cell phones with internet than there are people with running water and electricity in their homes? All of these people have no way to protect their assets, and they can't do commerce through the internet. Now they can with Bitcoin. Because Bitcoin isn't owned or controlled by any person, government, or company. There is no central entity that powers Bitcoin, but there needs to be something that powers it. It's actually powered by thousands of people that have specialized computers that power the network, secure the network, and verify transactions. This is called mining. The big question is, if there are basically no fees, why would people spend huge amounts of money on computers and electricity if there is no money to be made? This is where we can all cash in. On average, every 10 minutes a new block of Bitcoin is created and given to someone that is mining. In the beginning, it was 50 new Bitcoin being created every 10 minutes. After 210,000 blocks, which took about 4 years, it dropped to 25 new Bitcoin per block. After another 210,000 blocks, which should be the end of July of 2016, it will drop to 12.5 every block. And it will continue to have about every 4 years for the next 125 years until 2140. At that point, there will be 21 million Bitcoin, and no new Bitcoin will be produced from that point on. So, Bitcoin will always be rare. Bitcoin started January 3rd, 2009 by Satoshi Nakamoto. When it launched, it had no value. It wasn't actually about money. It was about providing the idea of, can we do a transaction without needing a third party? And can we have a decentralized form of money that anyone, anywhere in the world, can use with basically no fees? At that time, there were only a few people involved in mining. They were collecting all of the new Bitcoin every 10 minutes. Then, on May 22nd, 2010, the first transaction happened. 10,000 Bitcoins were offered for a pizza. When that happened, all of a sudden, Bitcoin had a value. Then demand started, and more people started asking to buy Bitcoin, but the people that had it didn't want to sell it so cheap. Remember, Bitcoin is rare like gold. At that point, people started offering higher prices to buy it. It actually took over a year and a half for Bitcoin to go from being an idea to being worth 10 cents for one Bitcoin. At the time of this video being made, it's been 5 more years, and the price has gone from 10 cents to about $240. That is a multiple of 2,400. 5 years ago, if you would have bought $1 worth of Bitcoin, you would now have $2,400. If you would have bought $100 worth of Bitcoin, you would have had $240,000. Over the past 5 years, Bitcoin has been the greatest investment in the world that we know of. A lot of people think those days are over. They are wrong. Here's why. Right now, there are only about 10 million people that have a Bitcoin wallet. We are talking about a technology that has the potential to be bigger than the internet, with billions of people using it. The internet is used by everyone now because it's easy. 25 years ago, it was actually very complicated. Now there are thousands of companies like Google, YouTube, Facebook, and Gmail that make it easy to use. Billions have been invested in these companies. Bitcoin is the same. 5 or 6 years ago, it was very complicated to use Bitcoin, but now there are over 1,000 companies from around the world that make it easy to use. The smartest and richest people in the world are investing hundreds of millions of dollars into Bitcoin companies to make easier for the masses to use. This is why we are still in the beginning of this Bitcoin revolution. In the past few years, hundreds of millions of dollars has been invested in Bitcoin startup companies. In 2012, about $2 million was invested. In 2013, $95 million. In 2014, $361 million. And through September 2015, already $456 million has been invested. That is over $900 million in the past 3 years. Here are just a few of the people and businesses that are investing in Bitcoin companies. Bill Gates, Sir Richard Branson, the New York Stock Exchange, Goldman Sachs, USAA Bank, BBVA Bank, the guys that started PayPal, eBay, and Google. Also, MIT University is very involved with Bitcoin and its underlying blockchain technology.